Subcommittee.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second for the approval of Section 7, Cultural and Recreation. Any other comments concerning that section? Okay, none being seen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
I
Motion
abstain
passes.
because I'm a member of the Public Library.
Okay, thank you very much, Councilor Psychowski. Moving on, Councilor Hagan.
I'll move on to Section 8 of the budget. This is debt and interest. It's our payment of our short and long-term indebtedness. I believe this is an overall decrease of $51,000, or about 3.2% of the budget. Just because of the recent vote on the high school, I would just like to note that this does include paying off some indebtedness for the design, but obviously the new school is not yet being carried because there's been no authorization for the borrowing. I don't know if it's for myself or you to make a motion to ask for the public's input.
I can make anyone, the mayor or the city, mayor, would you like to comment?
Just to reiterate what I did explain to the Finance Committee, and just to do it for the public. Also included in this budget is some reductions in the existing debt exclusions because of a couple of activities that the city has done over the last year. The first is that we refinanced the debt for the public safety complex. And you recall that saved about $280,000 or thereabouts. A portion of that savings is related to debt excluded debt. And so we're returning a portion of that savings to the taxpayers in a reduction of the excluded debt in the budget. The second was the high school project, the first phase. As you may recall, the voters authorized and City Council granted the authority to borrow $1.2 million for two school projects. That was a high school and an elementary school. In the course of doing the high school project, that amount was split. $700,000 was dedicated to the high school project. Authorization of $500,000 remains for the elementary school project once we get to that. That $700,000 proved to be more than we needed once we got the grant from MSBA, and so we are beginning to return about $320,000 that will be excess, $160,000 in this budget and the remainder in the 12 budget. So it's offsetting a significant amount of the money that we borrowed. And so that money is not going to come as additional taxes to the taxpayers.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. I'm saying Councilor Hagan.
That said, I'd like to make this in form of a motion. I move that the city raise and appropriate the sum of $1,534,151.50 for the various departments listed under Section 8, Debt and Interest, and that the amounts listed in the right-hand column of the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations, and that the amount of $1,534,151.50 for debt and interest, the sum of $525,050 be transferred from the enterprise revenue, specifically as follows: direct charges from water enterprise, maturing debt, $110,000, interest, $57,310, for a total of $167,310. Direct charges from sewer enterprise, maturing debt, $245,786.82. Interest, $111,953.48, for a total of $357,740.30. And that the sum of $71,623.20 be transferred from the enterprise retained earnings funds, specifically as follows: maturing debt, $63,676.20, interest, $7,947, for a total of $71,623.20, and that the sum of $53,900 be transferred from the Community Preservation Fund number 0292979, and the sum of $172,561 to pay from debt exclusion offset accounts as recommended by the mayor and finance subcommittee.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the acceptance of Section 8, Debt and Interest. Any additional comments from councilors? None being seen. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes.
I'd like to move on to Section 9, which is employee benefits. This is a slight increase from last year's budget of approximately $125,775, which would be about 1.9%, and is primarily the result of a higher cost of employee retirements, insurance, and unemployment benefits. This section includes the indirect costs of public employment and the payment of property and casualty insurance and reserve for unforeseen expenses.
Okay, anyone, the city auditor, the mayor, or anyone from the public would like to comment on section 9? Not being seen,
Just
Councilor.
one quick comment. I would like to point out to the council's president the note down the bottom where you see that this is funded in part by $200,000 from our stabilization fund.
Great. Thank you. Councilor Hagan?
Being no other comments, I'll put this in the form of a motion. I move that the city raise and appropriate the sum of $6,595,469 for the various departments listed under Section 9 employee benefits, and that the amounts listed in the right-hand column of the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations, and that the amount of $6,595,469 for employee benefits and the sum of $658,349.16 be transferred from the enterprise reserve specifically as follows. Charges for water enterprise, contributory retirement, $98,754. Workers' compensation, $12,008. Medicare contribution, $5,249.22. Chapter 32B insurance, $71,638.20. Liability insurance, $10,449.91. The total being $198,099.33. Charges for sewer enterprise, contributory retirement, $187,982. Workers' compensation, $18,012. Medicare contributions, $12,044.51. Chapter 32B insurance, $159,358.44, and liability insurance, $82,852.88. The total being $460,249.83, and that the sum of $200,000 be appropriated from stabilization fund number 84 as recommended by the mayor and the finance subcommittee.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second for the approval of section 9 employee benefits. Any additional comments from the councilors, discussion? None being seen. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
Moving on to Section 10, Community Preservation. I believe this section of the budget has been added in 2010 to comply with state law on the Community Preservation Act, and it allocates $150,000 for the 3 different set-aside accounts and $4,500 for committee and administrative purposes. I don't know if the mayor has any
Mayor,
comments
since
on
this
why
is
it
a
was
new
moved
part
to.
of the budget, I don't know if you'd be willing to just speak.
I think we actually started in 2009, but this is an attempt to try to get the portions that need to be set aside from CPA into a budget cycle. We hope that as time goes by, we'll be able to do more of the CPA transfers as a part of the budget process and less as a part of supplemental transfers as we move into the new year. We will be submitting to you another transfer amount later in this calendar year, in next fiscal year, to fully offset all of the CPA funds that were collected into, if not projects, at least into a retained fund so that they are not inadvertently counted as available revenues for other purposes in the budget. And so as we continue to try to solidify the housekeeping with the CPA committee, we're hoping that more and more will be able to be included in the budget process so that there's less of a need to do it outside.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else from the public or who would like to speak concerning the CPA portion of the budget? Not being seen. Councilor Hagan.
Being no other comments, I'll make this in the form of a motion. I move that the Section 10, Community Preservation, I move that the city raise and appropriate the sum of $154,500 for Section 10, Community Preservation, and that the amounts listed in the right-hand column of the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations, and that the sum of $154,500 to be paid from the Community Preservation Fund number 0292979 as recommended by the mayor and the Finance Subcommittee.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for acceptance of Section 10, Community Preservation and FY 2011 budget. Although, any additional comments, Councilor Cobb?
Just want to state this is as an aside, because I know we're going to move on rather quickly. There are two more sections in this budget, Section 11, Section 12. Section 12 is a summary that all councils received earlier. That basically forms a lot of information, what we consider the meat of the budget, when we begin to analyze this. So I just want to bring that to your attention for review if you have the leisure time to do so. Thank you.
Exactly. Okay, any additional comments? None being seen. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
Move that the public hearings be closed.
Second.
Okay, so a motion and a second for the closure of the public hearings. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes. Councilor Rist, I believe you have some additional information for us. You want to add that now?
Oh, okay. Just wanted to, when we discussed the appointment and we voted 4-3 in favor of the appointment, I mentioned Rule 8, and it jogged my memory, and we had adopted Rule 8 that there would be a mandatory automatic reconsideration of any vote that did not have the majority of 5 for passage. That reconsideration would have to take place at the next regularly scheduled meeting. If this had been for some measure that was not a mayoral appointment, we would have had to have continued the vote to the next meeting to make sure that we couldn't get 5. This was adopted in in May of 2007, in order to try and make it that 5 members of the council vote yes on any particular measure. But given that this is a mayoral appointment, it's moot anyway. Our next regularly scheduled meeting is in July, so it has to pass. But I wanted to point that out because we've been dealing with this actually in the charter review in trying to make it that when this council acts, 5 members have to at least vote yes. And this rule makes it possible for an under 5 vote to be at least reconsidered. So I wanted to bring that forward just in case anybody read the rule.
Okay, thank you. I mean, I guess there's always the option to call a special meeting, but I certainly
Actually,
don't.
you can't because it says regularly scheduled
Oh,
meeting.
regularly
And
scheduled.
because
There you go.
that says that, you can't do that anyway.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't have done that anyway. So, moving on, I believe we're on ordinance. Councilor Shattunoff.
Thank you, Mr. President. The ordinance subcommittee will continue its public hearing tomorrow night at 6 p.m. at 50 Payson in Conference Room 1 to continue going over Section 10.0 signs. And on 6/8, there's going to be a joint public hearing with the Planning Board and Ordinance Subcommittee at 50 Payson Ave to take up the citizens petition to delete condition for drive-in, drive-through restaurant and highway business zone. Also, the Ordinance Subcommittee will be taking up we have 2 public hearings that are continued to that same time, which is 8.155A, the parking requirement, and also the highway business boundaries. So we'll continue our public hearings after we're through with the planning board on the 8th. And also, what I'd like to do, if in anticipation of a decision from the planning board regarding this citizens petition in the highway business zone, I'd like to schedule a public hearing for July 7th at 6:15 p.m. for the full city council to take this up, provided that the time frame works and the planning board is able to make their decision. If they're not able to act to do that, I would ask to reschedule at that time.
Or continue, as you
Right.
said, right. Okay, so that's a motion.
That's a
and
motion.
Second. Okay, we have a motion, and a second to set a public hearing for the petition to delete the condition for drive-through restaurants in the highway business zone, 7/17 and 6:15 p.m. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes my report.
Counselor Shetnoff, did you want to ask for an extension on 8.155A?
We're going to be meeting on the 8th, and I believe that we're going to have our deliberation finished. And there has, I didn't realize, I was under the impression that I didn't need the extension if we were taking action on it.
May I ask?
Counselor Riss?
Have the public hearings been scheduled for those two items that we received from the planning board today, 8155A and?
That's a continuation scheduled for the 8th of June with the ordinance subcommittee. We're continuing ours on the 8th of June.
But you're not bringing it to the full council for a public hearing?
Correct.
Well, then you should.
You want me to get an
ask for a
extension?
continuation, yeah.
Okay, I'll ask for 30 days.
Okay, we have a motion for 30-day continuation on section 8.155A. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second for 30-day extension on section 8.145A. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes. 30-day extension. Is that the completion of your report, Counselor Shetnoff?
Yes.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Property, Counselor Cobb.
No report.
Okay, thank you very much. Charter review, Counselor Rist.
The Charter Review Committee will meet once this month. It's currently scheduled for June 24th, as there are a lot of vacations or absences, so we're going to try and hold a meeting. We're almost done reviewing the full charter, and we should have a full report to the council by the fall, because we're only going to meet once a month in the summer to try and finalize our final recommendations to the full council.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your work. No old business or pending, and new business, Counselor Cobb.
Thank you. I have before me for a first reading a supplemental appropriation request for fiscal year 2010. It's dated May 26, 2010. Request is hereby made for approval of the following appropriation. The amount requested is $99,000. This has the auditor's approval signature on it. To be appropriated from the CPA Housing Fund, the full amount of $99,000. To be appropriated to the CPA Affordable Housing Improvement Expense, the full amount of $99,000. The amounts requested will be used for the following purpose: to fund an affordable housing rehabilitation program outside the city's CDBG target area. That said, what I'd like to do is just make a motion to move this to finance for review and consideration.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to move the supplemental appropriation request of $99,000 from the CPA Housing Fund to the CPA Affordable Housing Improvement Expense. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next item I have before me again for a first reading is a supplemental appropriation request for fiscal year 2010, dated May 26, 2010. Request is hereby made for approval of the following appropriation. The amount requested is $200,000. This has the auditor's approval signature on it. To be appropriated from the CPA Housing Fund, the full amount of $200,000. To be appropriated to the CPA Affordable Housing Development Expense, the full amount of $200,000. The amounts requested will be used for the following purpose: to provide funding for long-term affordable housing at 69 Parsons Street. That said, this has the mayor's signature on it and the CPA department has signature on it. I'd like to make a motion to move that to finance for consideration and review.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for supplemental appropriation of the $200,000 from the CPA Housing Fund to the CPA Affordable Housing Development Expense Fund. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, okay, thank you very much. I believe that's the rest of our meeting for tonight. Can I have a motion for adjournment?
moved.
Okay, we have a motion, a second for adjournment. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? See you in July.